Have you ever felt that feeling when nothing really happened, right? Inside of sword fighting, but you feel stressed, you feel rushed, you need to attack your opponent right now, because if you don't, you lose. But that's what I'm going to talk about today. How you can destabilize your opponent using your spirit. And also how it's the other way around also. That's not technique and that's not speed. It's your spirit that you project outwards from yourself into the world and also into your opponent's mind. In this video, I'll show you how the sword fight is already decided before you even strike. How to use your presence, your pressure to dominate your opponent's mind to make him do some kind of mistake that you can use against him. The strongest longsword fighters that you know, they don't fight just bodies, they fight minds, they fight against another opponent's mind, they dominate them. So in the previous video I talked about how presence and how calmness gives you that mental state that you need to see what's happening inside of sword fight. In this part, I'll talk about how you can use that inner state to destabilize your opponent. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Uncle Kozint, and I have over 2 years of experience with longsword in historical European martial arts, which is a practice of real sword fighting against another human beings. But of course, with safety gear, right? This topic is important to me because every beginner and every intermediate struggles with it. Oh god, it starts to snow so much. The thing about your spirit is, of course, it's tied up to your confidence in your moveset, in your actions inside of sword fight. What I mean, it's not isolated, right? But it's one of the aspects that you as a beginner can train even without the technique, even without practicing the sword fight. So I just want to break it down for you so you could simply understand what is a spirit and how to actually practice it, how to make it better. But also, if you need structured guide on how to start longsword training, then check out the link in the description, which is my free community called START SWORDFIGHTING, where you could find a structured roadmap for complete beginners who don't have any fitness, who don't have any knowledge on how to actually start to do it. All they know is just they like swords, like all of us, right? This is the perfect place for complete beginners. Join there. So let me start from the first point, which is how spirit is pressure before the first strike. Fights don't start with the first strike. They start when you get into engagement range. It doesn't mean that you're already close to your opponent to attack him directly with footwork also. It means that you're already in some kind of engagement range where you can decrease the distance to your opponent but also retreat from him if you need to. Your posture, your stillness, your eye contact, your breathing, your distance management, even your reactivity to any kind of movement of your opponent or the complete lack of it, all of it, it's information for your opponent on how you're reacting to him, how you're feeling. And your opponent, of course, tries to read your intentions through your body language, through all of the things that he can observe in you and also within you, inside of your soul, to, of course, use it against you with specific actions. But also, it's the other way around as well. You can use your spirit to dominate your opponent even before the actual exchange. A calm and grounded fighter can destabilize a nervous one. In short, if you feel rushed inside of sword fighting, then your opponent already won because he made you to felt that you have to rush into him or that you have to be passive. He feels your emotions, he feels your intention, and so of course he will use it against you. Point number 2 is that intent is loud even when you're silent. So your half-hearted attacks, when you don't commit fully to them, but it doesn't mean that you overcommit also, doesn't mean that you're safe. You may feel safe, but they invite doubles from your opponent. They invite counterattacks from your opponent, even into your offensive actions as well. Your opponent just could see your intentions very clearly if you feel nervous and you want to rush into him because nothing happens, right? You have to do something, right? You want to attack him. Okay, now I go. But he already knows how to defeat you. He knows that you will attack him right now because you feel rushed. All he needs to do is to actually counter-attack into you. Not even with a parry riposte, not with some kind of defensive actions, but with a counter-attack, which closes you off with his own attack. As I said, some kind of offensive actions, like a counterattack, can at the same tempo counter you, so strike you, and also defend you at the same time, if you do it right. What I mean is your clear intentions for you actually make you more unpredictable for your opponent. Your opponent then must respect your intention when he finally realizes what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve with some kind of compound fencing action. When you commit properly, your opponent doesn't have a choice. He has to respond correctly to your intent. So spirit means attacking with a decision already made in that specific moment. But it doesn't mean committing to your attack, which momentum you've already stopped earlier. So it means that you've already lost your chance to do it, to surprise your opponent with your intention. Point number 3 is breaking rhythms and expectations. Most longsword fighters settle for their natural rhythms, for their specific patterns that they always use in every sword fighting scenario. And they don't even notice it. But calm fighters, they know how to change their rhythm. They know how to change their tempo, to slow down a moment and feel relaxed, but then quickly accelerate and attack back. Spirit shows when you slow down, when you take a break, but then properly commit to some kind of strike. So the strongest fighters aren't the ones who are the fastest ones in isolation. They are the ones who are the most unpredictable. Point number 4 is using stillness to create fear. Stillness makes opponents feel threatened. So it makes people uncomfortable. The fighters who don't rush in and stay calm and still at some point make the other person actually go into them with some kind of rush in. They make the other opponent feel nervous. So a fighter who looks still but also calm looks confident, and it makes their opponent to make some kind of mistake. The fighters who wait calmly after an exchange make the other person to actually overcommit to some kind of attack, which leads to them, of course, using that against them with some kind of defense maybe. In that way, they're actually taking the initiative by being still. I know it's ironic. I've said you many and countless times that you can't be passive inside of sword fighting, right? But there's a big difference between being passive and being still, having calm, right? And using that calm and your spirit, your strong confidence to make your opponent feel rushed, feel pressured. And that fear that you project outwards can create openings faster than your speed. Point number 5 is spirit versus ego. So the ego is just wants to hit. It just wants to win every exchange, always. But spirit accepts being hit, losing points, and resetting the whole mindset if it leads to you winning. If it leads to you controlling the fights on your terms. The fighters who chase only hits usually don't get them. They are way too needy for hitting their opponent, and it often leads to them getting doubled or getting parry and riposted, right? But fighters who stay present, they stay adaptable, and by that they become way more hard to read. Point number 6 is how spirit reduces doubles. So both opponents, when they feel nervous, when they feel pressured, they feel like they need to rush into their opponent, which of course leads to them for a double hit. But your strong spirit can keep you aware. It keeps you to recover from each exchange, and it also lets you to disengage from the fight if you know that you will not win it in this instance right now. The spirit lets you to close the lines safely up to the moment when you still have control over it. It also leads to you making calm decisions which beat just fast and messy decisions. But of course, I said that faster and simpler decisions are better than overthinking about anything, right? But it's an advice for the beginners, right? Right now, in this part two, I'm talking to a bit of more intermediate guys who still, of course, struggle with this topic. So in this instance, you're probably already know how to fight, how to spar against another opponents, right? So you know how to make faster decisions, but it, it's also important that you consider making them also being calm, not feeling that actual pressure, right? You don't need more techniques to do. You just need a lot less emotional spikes. Point number 7 is that spirit is built outside the sparring. So the things like sleep, breath work, good diet, being fit, not consuming a lot of degenerate content, it also leads to you feeling confident. It leads to you having better spirit, which of course you can use inside of sword fighting. It's your physical condition, your actions that you do from day to day, which actually decide if you become way more focused and better at sword fighting. But you sometimes have to grit your teeth and just show up to training even when you're tired. But this way, you're actually training your spirit to become better. You're training yourself to stay composed even when you don't have energy left. So, life stress leaks into your sword fights unless you are able to hold it. And point number 8 is this is why it's part 2. So, in part 1, I've told you how you can master yourself. But this part 2 is about how this mastery leaks into you projecting it outwards from your mind into your opponent. So having strong and powerful spirit doesn't mean that you act intimidating. You just become way more hard to push, to rush, or way harder to read. Spirit isn't some mystical bullshit. It's your presence, it's your eye contact, it's you being calm, and it's you feeling confident under the pressure of sword fighting. It's your intent, it's your discipline that you project outwards into your opponent. And sword fighting practice is actually one of the fastest way to build it. So if you need a structured guide, if you want my specific help, my feedback on your sword fighting form, or if you have any kind of other simple questions, or you want just advice on how to actually start longsword, then go and join my fucking community called Start Sword Fighting, where I helped already more than 50 guys inside of this community. Yes, you can check out the link in the description. You can even see how much people are there inside. It's the number that wanted me to help. Of course, it's not only just me, it's also advanced guys who joined there to actually help beginners out, to help even intermediates on their path of sword fight. It's even snowy right now and I'm freezing right now, right? But it doesn't matter to me. I'm getting out from my home, making these videos, like scripting them, recording them outside of my home, outside of my comfortable room, because it's me expressing to you that you need to move, you need to get out of your comfort zone time and time again, like stepping out of the edge of where you're feeling comfortable. This is where you actually grow. And it's the same thing you're supposed to do in sword fighting, in longsword. It's hard to do, but it's a very fulfilling life. So yeah, join right now my Start Sword Fighting community. But also scroll down and subscribe to this channel to not miss anything. Leave some comment under this video if you felt that I've already helped you out with sword fighting, with my free videos for you. Yeah. And remember, always take the initiative.